G'day, John here. Welcome to my shop. This week is about a bowl experimenting with some colours. I've seen it on YouTube with some other turners, and they've done a really good job and learned some tricks from these guys. I thought I'd give it a go. So it's just using a bit of a poplar. So it's not a hard turn by any means. This wood is really good to turn. It's almost like sycamore that I've used before, and it's quite plentiful in the UK. But this bowl came out really well. I can show you the colours. It's pretty hard to see it in this light, but actually when it's turning, you don't see too much of the colours. I'll explain to you how this is done, so you can do it yourself. It came out really well. I've used the Hampshire Sheen as a final gloss cover inside of the bowl. Just the classic shape. Bottom is concave so that get room for the foot here. I've left not sharp edges but pointed edges. It gives it that classical look. Came out really well. As you can see, that colouring is just magnificent. Like it. So, going to show you how this is all done. Enough chat from me, as I normally say, and let's get cracking. Cheers. With a poplar blank now mounted between centres, going to use the Hercules roughing carbide tool. Well, that's my go-to tool for roughing out. We'll start off with this bowl with not real shape in mind. But end up with like a too curved bowl. Quite happy with it at the end, mainly because of the shape of this blank. It had a pretty heavy divot in the bottom, so I had to make the bottom of the bowl narrower than the top. Just saw there's this little plywood jig. I'll use that to get the size of the foot for the 150 Vic Mark chuck. I like to keep the bowls with at least a 5-inch foot on the bottom. You can then decide whether to keep part of the foot, all the foot, or none on the foot. Depends how the bowl turns out. Using the 5/8 bowl gouge here, just getting the bottom of the shape. As I said, there was that divot had to be turned out. Like turning this poplar wood, it's easy to turn and doesn't have a hell of a lot of tear outs on the ingrain. Here's a bit just going through a final cut with the bowl shape. You can tell with the berry wisps of shavings coming off that bowl gouge, just coming into the final cut. I think I sharpened the bowl gouge 2 or 3 times on this. Coming with the sanding. Start off around 120 grit right through to 240 grit, and then leaving the 320 as the final after sanding sealer has been finished. See here with the 4-way camera, just using the air gun to get the dust out of each of the grits. It helps a lot by removing through each of the grits. Sanding sealer, homemade, going on just to seal that wood before the black lacquer gets applied, so it doesn't sink directly into the grain. so it's important to have a sanding sealer. You'll see in a moment using the black lacquer, gloss lacquer it is. Just getting the lathe prepared with some cardboard backing so I don't end up with paint all over the lathe. Not a good way to go. So here's the application of the black lacquer. I used about 3 coats because you won't get every last fraction of the bowl surface covered with the lacquer because of the end grain soaks it up. But that doesn't matter as long as you get the majority of it covered. You'll see in a moment I did lose the footage for applying the green paint, which is the main reason for this video, so I did a mock-up. So I lost the film footage for technique for putting the Jo Sonja paints on the side of the bowl, so what I've done is just made a little mock-up. I've got a bit of 3/4 inch scrap plywood here. And the first step is to use some black gloss lacquer. Any spray can will do. I use the Hampshire Sheen one, but anything that's got the black glossy background just hasn't come up a lot glossy. I've only put 2 coats on here. It's got kind of a sheen there or a gloss there. So the first step is to use the Jo Sonja iridescent paints. So you get these from Amazon. There's a select number of colours. I'm using the green in this case on the bowl. And you also need a bottle of the Jo Sonja Flow Medium. So it is water-based paint, but water will dilute the colours. But if you get the Flow Medium, then it doesn't lose the colour. You don't have to use much. I'm just using a little plastic cup to put it in. Just get a stir rod. So you just put a little bit into the cup. You don't need much, even though I'm just using a small piece of 1/4 inch plywood for demonstration purposes only. So then the flow medium is about 40% of what you're using in the paint, so not a lot, just to thin it out. And I'm going to use a brush, just a small brush that you get from Amazon, and just mix it up. And the thing with these Jo Sonja paints, they go on white. It doesn't matter what colour they are. This is supposed to be green, but when it's applied to your job, it'll look white. And to put it on, I usually do swirls like this, like you know, just round circles. You can be quite liberal with this paint. And you've got to imagine, of course, this is all going to the side of the bowl. So you see that paint's on there. Next step is to just get some normal kitchen sandwich glad wrap. It's clear plastic film, and with a great deal of finesse, you apply it to the side of the bowl, slap it on, and of course that gives it a little bit of texture. You can put your fingers in here and twist it, like so, and then you peel the film off the surface of the bowl. It's giving a little bit of texture there. Get the plastic, bunch it up into a bunch like this, and then you just dab the surface like this. And you can see the paint's drying and it's coming up in a green colour slow but sure. Let's just wait for that to dry. So there it is, it's semi-dry, but you can see the sheen there. The Jo Sonja Paints Iridescent edition comes out really well. So this is the green, Might have put a little bit of gold with that, but no, green turns out fine. Okay. So back on the lathe, bowl all painted. So switching the bowl now to the thick mark chuck, and the process of hollowing out the bowl. So the outside is completely finished. I did end up putting something like 5 coats of clear gloss lacquer, and it came out really well on the outside. So at this point, it's got to be really extremely careful not to have a mistake with the bowl gouge and skid across the painted surface. I use the Hunter Tools bowl gouges, carbide bowl gouges for doing the internals. It brings out the material a lot quicker, but it does tear the grain a hell of a lot. So in with the Hunter Tools, get most of the material out, then I'll finally go through with a 5/8 bowl gouge for finishing cuts. Some 4-way footage now, just to sit back, relax, and watch the hollowing out of a bowl. You can fast forward it if you want it particularly to pay attention, but you'll see using the Hunter Tools carbide gouge to take out the material, and then you'll see the 5/8 gouge going in for some finishing touches. Final sanding. As I say, I took it right through to 320 grit after some sanding sealer, and the outside of the bottle is the only outside of the bowl is the only one with the gloss sheen. There's the place some axe polishing on the inside of the bowl. So this brings us to the end of the video. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and till next time, I've got some stools at the end of the footage here. See you soon. Cheers, guys.